going on, guys? This is Kaishiro. Welcome back. So we are back with another Uncrowned Kings local metagame report that will cover tournament results and deck lists, topping deck lists on July 24 to July 31. So a week-long tournament results and tournament reports. We will see what are the decks that topped and garnered some success on the last week of July post Agov or Age of Overlord. So the set made some really huge additions to the format, like the Sinful Spoils, the Ebel Star, and then Horus. So there's a lot of things that we should consider on this last week of July, heading towards the August. So let's get started. At first, we have Purely here on Bandung Duelist Tournament. So a standard deck list of Purely runs Path of Prosperity and Path of Desires, as it should be, because the deck wants some extra consistency, because the Purely lost 2 copies of Sleepy Memory. That's why they have replaced this card with more consistency cards. And also SP Little Knight became a staple on extra deck. It basically replaced Azalea for their generic link 2 on this list. So yeah, it's a pretty nice inclusion here on extra deck of Purely as well. And then next we have second place Labyrinth with Unchained. So this is the popular Unchained Labyrinth. It can really make a number of interruptions on this list, and it also plays the new Labyrinth card, the Labyrinth Arias. So it basically turbos the trap cards on this Labyrinth list, so that they can just play multiple trap cards like the Unchained Trap and the Dimensional Barrier. So it is very efficient on Labyrinth, and some lists are including this Arias, and some lists are not including this. So it's really 50-50 right now if they will incorporate Arias moving forward, or will drop Arias moving forward. So yeah, next we have Draco Slayer. So this also got buff from the Agov, I assume. Yeah, they've got the new Link Pendulum card on the extra deck, on the middle of Beyond of Pendulum and Zeliantis. So this card also buffed the Pendulum decks on the format. And yeah, I think it's a pretty nice deck right now in the format, this Draco Slayer. Especially many players are not playing Nibiru that much on the extra deck, or the side deck. So that's why this deck can really topple a lot of decks if this deck can go first and set up multiple negations on their board. And then next we have Dragon Link. At first I've got worried for Dragon Link, because the OCG have the Typhoon now, the Doomsday. So a lot of Dragon Link end boards ends on 3k up boss monsters like Bestial Dispatter, Borreload, Savage, and then the Borrel and Dragon. So it's a lot of 3k beat sticks on the board, and I've got worried if Dragon Link can still top because of the Doomsday, because Doomsday can literally shut down the board of Dragon Link the moment he has been summoned on the field. But yeah, I think Dragon Link players are still adapting and coping with the Doomsday, and they are making alternate end boards, like using SP Little Knight. This list doesn't use the SP Little Knight, but most of the Dragon Link players now are incorporating SP Little Knight on their end board. So yeah, moving forward, we now have Yu-Gi-Oh! Binangonan X Rizal Community Tournament. At first place here, we have Julius Tanchingo, Rescue Ace. So without the Diabel Star or the Sinful Spoils, this is the pure version of Rescue Ace. But if you are a Rescue Ace player and you are not using the Sinful Spoils, you are missing out a lot of consistency and resiliency and overall power to the deck. The Sinful Spoils really improves the consistency of Rescue Ace, because you now have searchers for the Hydrant, and you can really make some plays using the Sinful Spoils to improve the consistency of the deck. But yeah, this guy begged to differ and didn't play Sinful Spoils yet. And the next we have Tonton Hero. So Hero can be still relevant because the end board was pretty much the same, sitting on Dark Law. So it is like a walking macrocosmos, And a lot of decks are relying on graveyard right now. There's a lot of graveyard relevant decks on the format. Like on the tier 3 we have Tri-Brigade Sprite, and then the tier 2 decks like Adamantipator, Earth Good Stuff, and then you have things like Tearlaments, Sinful Spoils. So yeah, you can just win games from summoning out Dark Law on some occasions. And then next we have MC with Umi. So a pretty standard decklist of Umi runs Reasoning for some reason. Yeah, I think it's quite interesting here as well, and plays the Scrap Wyvern on the extra deck. I'm not too sure how can you summon out this Scrap Wyvern. Maybe I'm missing out some plays on this list, but yeah. And then moving forward, we have Bakod Batam Community Duelist Ranking Tournament Gacha Store CS. So I believe this is from Indonesia. At first place here we have Branded. So a pretty standard decklist of Branded. I really like the inclusion of Artifact Lancea here, because Artifact Lancea is very strong against Rescue Ace. Artifact Lancea can single-handedly shut down the turn of Rescue Ace, which is Rescue Ace is the most prominent deck right now in the format, with the Sinful Spoils Rescue Ace dominating the format right now. Artifact Lancea is a very nice side deck option right now on the format, as well as the Spellcaster Village. On this side deck, it can really make the day worst for purely players because they rely on spell cards. And then moving on, we have another Branded. So this time plays the Gimmick Puppet with the Branded Expulsion on the side deck. I think it's the most annoying part for Branded, because you don't know if the Branded players that you are opposing are running the Gimmick Puppet and Expulsion, or just pure Branded. So it's kinda hard to think about and or expect their plays moving on. So yeah, it's a really tough call to say that Branded should be hit on the previous ban list or just the Expulsion, like what they did to the TCG. And the next we have Sky Striker with Kaiser Colosseum on the main deck. It's going for Sky Striker, as we can see here. The goal was to sit on Shizuku or something like Hayate and sit with this Floodgate. So I think it's pretty neat as well. Really nice deck list. Plays Bestials on the side deck. I haven't seen that much of Bestial cards lately on the format, but many players are still playing this because of the elements, of course. And then next we have Altergeist. This is also a very good rogue deck, a very good control deck as well, because you can just surprise your opponent from this deck. It can set up multiple negates as well using their extra deck, and also runs the Spellcaster of the Village, really insane against purely. And look at the side deck, it really runs a lot of trap cards, Solemn Strike, and then Witch Strike, and then Waking the Dragon. So really a lot of unpredictable cards on the side deck from this player. So moving on, we have Velocity Weekly Tourney. So we have Tommy here with Salamangreat. So Salamangreat lost some of their traction lately, because I haven't seen that much of Salamangreat tops lately, but I do have seen Salamangreat with Sinful Spoils tops recently. But the pure version kinda got overwhelmed from the new supports, but I'm glad that Salamangreat is still doing fine here as per Tommy. So yeah, pretty standard decklist of Salamangreat. Dark Ruler No More makes more sense now than before, because there's a lot of combo decks that are running around on the format. You have Adventure, Sinful Spoils, Tenyi, and then you have things like Synchron, Adventure, Sinful Spoils as well. So there's a lot of combo decks that are running rampant on the format. Dark Ruler No More makes a lot of sense now. And then moving on, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG Weekly Tournament, Time Walk Tournament. So at first place here we have Chimera, I assume. Yeah, Chimera with Revo Synchron, really interesting. So on this list, you have access to Synchro cards like Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and Black Rose Dragon and Ancient Fairy. So this also plays Small World and Wanghu Tiger very nice. Wanghu Tiger can be very devastating on some of the decks on the format. And then next we have Vanquishol from Ricky Dana. So this list doesn't play the new support. Oh, it does play the Jiaolong, the new card from Agov. So Vanquishol also got some buff from the Agov, and I do think that Vanquishol is pretty decent right now. Before, Vanquishol are really in a rogue spot or tier 3 something, but now for me, I really elevate this deck on tier 2 status right now on my books. So yeah, I do think that Vanquishol is a very good deck right now. And then next we have another Salamangreat, really nice. So it's kinda similar from the list earlier, but this time it plays Apollousa on the extra deck. It's really interesting and unusual because many Salamangreat players are not playing Apollousa. They just end on the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix most of the time. And then Ainur with Kashtira. Wow, Kashtira doesn't seem to bother the ban list of Fenrir. Kashtira can still top, no? But now they will have to rely on 2-card combos most often than not. So I do think it's the bad indication of a deck that you need to have 2-card combos. But yeah, Arise Heart is still Arise Heart. It can really be a very commanding position when you can summon out Arise Heart. And then moving on, we have Duelist Dewata weekly tournament. Second place here, or rather let's start with Vanquishol, another Vanquishol champion decklist. So this time with Sinful Spoils. So it's really interesting that you can play Sinful Spoils on Vanquishol. Maybe the discard factor is not that big of a deal, and many players in our country are playing Sinful Spoils on Vanquishol. It's rather interesting, and I would love to see how this deck will unfold on the following weeks and months of the July format. And then next we have True Draco from Koski. So a pretty standard deck is of True Draco. It plays Nibiru and Spear Mode on the side deck. So it plays also the Monarch cards on this deck list. So it really makes sense because you can just stun your opponent and prevent them from special summoning on this list. And also plays Inspector Border, really nice from Koski. And then we have Panji, another Monarch. So they do have a lot of Monarch and really turn-skipping decks like Monarch on their community. So Panji plays Ancham of Right, which is a very good option here because Monarch doesn't seem to use the extra deck. So now he has value for draw power using Ancham of Right. And also plays Jinzo, very interesting. Maybe he has to play Jinzo against Labyrinth matchups. So that's why I think Jinzo is here. And also Maxi, really interesting from Panji. And then moving on, we have Duelo Iloilo, Agov Major Qualifiers Tournament. Second runner-up, Matthew Delorfino, Salamangreat. So there's a couple of Salamangreats now, no? I might take my words back because I haven't seen Salamangreat that much on Japan and Taiwan and China tournaments. But here in the Philippines and Indonesia, Salamangreat can be a very good deck to play. So this Salamangreat plays Kurikara on the side deck. I think Kurikara can be very unusual and underwhelming on some occasions because now purely plays the field spell and the My Friend as well. So Kurikara can be underwhelming on some occasions if the purely players has the setup of the field spell and My Friend on their field. So yeah, and plays Lightning Storm, really controversial. I haven't seen that much of Lightning Storm lately, but I get the logic of playing this Lightning Storm. You would play this over Raigeki or something like Dark Hole because it has also access to wipe the back row. So it is more versatile than Raigeki in Dark Hole at the moment. And also plays Anti-Spell Fragrance, can be nice as well. So moving on, we have Agov Major Qualifiers Tournament with Vic Tesoro, Dino. So yeah, I think this list didn't play the support from Animation Chronicle, the Pterodactyl and the Fusion Monster of Dino on the extra deck. So it is the standard and basic decklist of Dino, but it proves to be still effective until this date. It can also make a board with multiple negations with Savage and Apollousa and Dolka. So you're not really missing out on ceiling on this deck. It can still make a very powerful board. And also plays Raigeki on the side deck. I'm not too sure about playing Raigeki right now. Maybe I think Raigeki can be very underwhelming on some occasions because most boards right now does have negations. So yeah, it's quite underwhelming. And then moving on, we have Duelo Iloilo, Agov Majors qualifiers, the champion on that tournament. We have Jed Dignos, Dynamorphia. So a pretty standard deck of Dynamorphia plays Wannabe on the main deck. It's quite unusual, and Triple Ferret Flames. This is the card that I'm looking for a Dynamorphia deck. And also plays a Labyrinth package with the Big Welcome and the Lady. And yeah, I think it's a good card to enhance the ceiling and overall consistency of Dynamorphia with the Labyrinth package. And I would like to see more hand traps on the side deck. He only plays 11 cards on the side deck. Quite unusual. Plays Cross Out Designator. I'm not too sure about this. Maybe he plays this Cross Out for just Ash Blossom maybe, or Imperm. So moving on, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Madagascar Gathering. At first place here, we have Tearlaments. So a pretty standard deck is of Tearlaments. We won't see that much of a difference here from Axel, Rama, Rokoto. So yeah, I think it's a very standard list of Tearlaments. It doesn't play the Sinful Spoils, but still effective. And the next we have runner-up here. We have Trap Tricks Super Heavy Samurai. I'm also experimenting this list as well and build. I do think that Super Heavy Samurai can give the extra it factor or that extra push for the Trap Tricks to create some really respectable boards on the format. And it really elevates the ceiling of Trap Tricks at the same time. So I think it's a nice inclusion here. And then next we have top 4. We have Sword Soul Tenyi. So Sword Soul Tenyi has been a staple deck for a very long time. Many players are still playing Sword Soul Tenyi until this date. Even though the deck can be quite bricky sometimes and quite underwhelming because you don't have that much of firepower on this deck. You just need to rely on drawing your starters, your Moye, Taya, and Emergence to make out the Chixiao and the Barone. So yeah, it's a really mid-range deck that relies on hand traps like this Veiler and Imperm. So yeah, I think it's quite nice to see Sword Soul. And then we have now Spiral, really interesting. You don't see Spiral every day nowadays. Maybe Spiral got power creep, no? It takes back the time when Spiral was at year 0 deck. Maybe times have changed now and other decks are gaining more power than Spiral. So yeah, I think Spiral can still be very good combo deck right now, but it really depends on your luck because this Spiral instantly loses to Maxi and Roland Lockbird. So yeah, and Nibiru as well. That's why he plays Cross Out on the main deck to cancel out Nibiru and Droll and Lockbird here. So moving on, we have a card weekly tournament. At first place here we have Rescue Ace from Arif. So it doesn't play the Sinful Spoils. Maybe some players are still not adapting for Sinful Spoils, or maybe they haven't bought yet the Sinful Spoils core because it's kinda expensive right now. The core plummeted into skyscraper or high price on a matter of 2 to 3 days. Before it was 2,000 pesos only on our currency, the core, but after 3 days it went to 4,500. That much of scale and rise. So yeah, it's kinda hard to buy the core right now. It's really high in price. And the next we have Performable with Orcust, really interesting. I don't know how this deck works, to be honest. Maybe you just summon out the Galatea and the Crescendo on your board and then you synchro summon for something like Barone or Crystal Wing. or just end up with IP. It's really interesting. From Adam, plays mind control. I'm not too sure about this, but you can just play mind control to link climb your opponent's monster on your field. So yeah, it's nice. And next we have Adib, the elements. He didn't reveal his side deck. So a quite standard decklist of the elements as well. Plays the Tribri Karma as well, and then the Underworld Goddess. This is what I like to see on the elements decklist, playing Underworld Goddess, because purely is still a very relevant deck. Probably one of the top 3 decks right now, best decks right now in the format. So you must have Underworld Goddess to out the Noir on some occasions. And then moving on, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Kotobato Weekly Ranking Tournament. At first here, we have Labyrinth from Ronji, the champion of the tournament. Plays the transaction rollback as well, really standard. And doesn't play the Arias, no? That's what I'm saying earlier. Many players are still not playing Arias, even though Arias got introduced. Many players are still sticking to the standard furniture Labyrinth. So yeah. And the next we have Trains. Really interesting. You don't see Trains every day, and especially the core is very cheap right now on the OCG. The Train core got reprinted from the selection pack last time. So yeah, it's nice to see Trains topping. And the next we have Kashtira here, another Kashtira. So Kashtira still breeds, no? I thought that banning Fenrir would be the end of Kashtira, but yeah, I think Kashtira proves to be some type of a worthy deck right now. And then we have S-Force Goodness. I don't know how to describe this S-Force topping, but he doesn't play the SP Little Knight. I think it's quite a shame that he doesn't play SP Little Knight. I would put SP Little Knight here on S-Force, but nonetheless, it's a very notable top for August. Moving on, we have Tabletop Gapo Ranking Tournament. At first here, we have July 19. So we have Bob Marson here, the champion of July 19 tournament of Tabletop Gapo Ranking Tournament. He plays Sky Striker. So interesting, he only plays 12 extra deck cards. He only plays the Sky Striker cards as a whole on his extra deck. He doesn't play the Access Code and Celine, and even he doesn't have Camellia and Azalea. So it is a very budget Sky Striker decklist here from Bob Marzan. And his side deck also focuses on a variety of going first and going second. He plays a Dimensional Barrier, and There Can Be Only One, and Imperial Iron Wall, and also Evenly Matched and Lightning Storm. So his side deck is really flexible for going first and going second. So a pretty nice and budget list from Bob Marzan. Really nice from him. And the next we have Travis Gomez, champion on July 21. So he plays Nemleria, yeah, with Grem Naju. So it is a very interesting deck as well, because Nemleria got support from the Agov as well, their new trap card here on this list. So I don't know how impactful that support is for the Nemleria, but I still think that this deck is still on a innovation phase, where players are still creating decklists and innovating decklists to have a standard decklist of Nemleria to use them to tap on tournaments. So yeah, only 10 side deck cards from Travis, really interesting. Maybe he didn't include the other cards here. And the next we have Kerwin Lee, Rescue Ace. So plays the Synchron package of Rescue Ace with the Olayon, and he plays the Denglong, really interesting. He plays Yang Zing card on the main deck. It's really interesting, and yeah, I think it's the Synchro version of Rescue Ace. I don't rate this Synchro version that much, because I always prioritize the Proxy F Magician, because resolving Turbulence for me is the most important thing on Rescue Ace. If your Turbulence got negated from Imperm or Veiler, you are pretty much game over for you. So yeah, I think Proxy F is still my best bet on Rescue Ace. And then we have Joshua Oriano, Vanquishol. This is, by the way, with the new support as well from Agov. And There Can Be Only One on the main deck. Many VS players are not playing There Can Be Only One recently, but Joshua plays There Can Be Only One. Maybe There Can Be Only One is quite good on their format, but yeah, I think it's quite a good floodgate as well on Vanquish Hole, and plays Retaliating Sea on the side deck. I think this is the most impactful card right now that you can side on the format to cancel out the purely spell cards, and also good on Branded as well. Really nice against Branded, so a very strong card right now on the side deck of Joshua. And plays no Feather Duster. I see he only plays Evenly Match for his back row hate on the side deck. Really nice from Joshua. And then we have Kerwin Lee again with Manadium. So this is the most hated deck right now on the format because it turbo outs the Calamity on the turn of your opponent. It's a very cancerous and toxic interaction from Manadium. But Kerwin Lee doesn't play the Calamity on this list. He only plays the Dispater and Barone and the Cheng Ying on the extra deck. So he is not playing the Calamity route on this list. So moving on, we have a card weekly tournament. We have Orcus Horus here. Really nice. So Horus also got some representations lately. Maybe players are innovating and experimenting Horus on decklist right now because it can successfully bring out rank 8 monsters easily on the Horus cards. So I think it's a good engine as well to maximize on this format, aside from the Diable Star Sinful Spoils engine. And then next we have Naufal, Trap Tricks. So a pretty budget list of Trap Tricks here. Plays the Arias. Maybe he wants to have access on trap cards during his turn, like the Hole cards and Torrential Tribute when going second. So yeah, I really get the logic of Naufal here. And then moving on, we have Farian's Card Game Merchant weekly tournament. We have Drytron. So I don't recall when was the last time I have seen Drytron top on OCG local tournaments. I think this is the first time for quite some time for me. I think Drytron is very underwhelming on a lot of occasions now, but it can still make the job done by summoning out the Ultimateness or the Perfection. It can still negate up to 3 to 4 times maybe. So it's a really good deck with good going first capability as well. And I think many players can still play Drytron given the format is kinda weak and diverse on the format. So yeah, I think Drytron has a space even for a rogue deck right now. And then next we have Tri-Brigade Sprite. Yeah, quite standard deck list of Tri-Brigade. Plays the SP Little Knight, a very nice inclusion for the Tri-Brigade Sprite because it is also a link to. You are not having locks on your Sprite when summoning out SP Little Knight because it is a link to as well. And it is also a nice addition. You can summon it from IV Masquerena and interrupt your opponent as well. So really nice from Andar. And then moving on, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Davao ranking tournament. At first place here, we have Salamangreat. So another Salamangreat. This time plays Rivalry on the main deck. I understand that Rivalry can be good on the format because you can just summon out the Bailings on the opponent's field using the Weasel, I assume. So yeah, you can lock out your opponent from there and you can just OTK your opponent next turn using your link monsters on the field with heavy and big attacks. And also plays Small World. Maybe he plays Small World for consistency. And also a tool to search out the Dogoran, which is very good against Purely. And on the side deck, quite standard lineup of cards on the side deck. Plays Anti-Spell Fragrance. Understandable because you want to protect your Rivalry here and your Roar and Rage on your Salamangreat disposal. And yeah, I think it's a nice list from Jobel. And then next we have Clarky, Maturan, Synchron Adventurer. So this is also the deck that I have said earlier that combo decks are gaining traction. Synchron is one of those combo decks that are really unstoppable when you don't draw the outs to mitigate the board of Synchron Adventure, because when you don't have 2 hand traps on this Synchron Adventure, if they can just successfully resolve the junk speeder, you're pretty much game over from that, and they can easily bring out Barone on their third summon, I assume, or second, even second. So yeah, they now have protection for Nibiru. So yeah, it's kinda hard to counter this Synchron Adventurer. If you're not playing a mid-range deck, you're really in a tight spot against this deck. And then next we have Andrew Aguinaldo with Synchron Bestial. Nice combo deck as well, but I wouldn't play Synchron Bestial on the format because there's a lot of very good combo decks over this Synchron Bestial on the format. And then next we have Runic for High Sprite. So this is a very TCG-esque list from Lian Gabriel Alfafara. So he plays the Runic on the for hire with Sprite, a very Dinkaboy esque decklist here from Lian. I also see this decklist on TCG tournaments, but it's the first time that I have seen this list on OCG tournaments, to be honest. So really nice from Lian Gabriel. And then moving on, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Metagame Malang Tournament. So Adam with Tearlaments, with Adventure. Many players are still innovating Adventure on Tearlaments because it has good graveyard functions with Aramiser and the Water Enchantress. And also it has access to Dracobak, but for some reason it doesn't play Dracobak. I think Dracobak is very crucial on outing problematic floodgates and also floodgate monsters like Arisart and Baguska, those floodgate monsters that Dracobak can out. So it's really a shame that he doesn't play Dracobak, but I get the logic because sometimes Dracobak is just a brick on Adventure Tearlaments. So yeah, moving on, we have Arizal, Rikasan Avalon. So this is the Rikasan Avalon that got popularized by the Jessica Robinson, I assume, from TCG. So Rika is still a very solid and decent rogue deck until this date. Rika Concon is insane. It can tribute for cost. What can you do about that? Your monsters got tributed for cost. It's a really terrible feeling. And then next we have Dinosaur from Aldiancia. So Dinosaur with Transcendosaurus support. This is the modern version of Dino. Plays the Wind Pterodactyl from Animation Chronicle and also plays the Fusion Dino on the extra deck. So this is what I like to play when I'm going to use Dino on the format. And then next we have Dragon Maid Bestial with Rocket Tracer and Apple Synchron Dragon. So it's more like of a Dragon Link than Dragon Maid because he only plays Tiding and Chamber on this list. So Dragon Maid is just an engine. And plays Ghost Bell on the side deck. Ghost Bell is insanely strong against Labyrinth. Labyrinth has a lot of graveyard maneuvers on their side. So Ghost Bell can definitely stop that. And plays Cosmic Cyclone as well. I really like this from Fikri because Cosmic Cyclone, playing Cosmic Cyclone is just a respect for back row decks. So in our Philippines, back row decks are very rampant on our local scenes. You can go against players with back row decks on 2 or 3 rounds on the Philippines. So yeah, it's kinda mandatory to play Cosmic Cyclone here over the Philippines. So yeah, I think it's a nice respect for back row. And then moving on, we have Evo Community Tournament, weekly tournament. At first place here, we have Dino. The name was confidential. So a standard decklist of Dino plays Pot of Avarice on the main deck. I get this logic because maybe you want to shuffle back your resources on the graveyard for the grind game, as well as playing Lightning Storm on the main deck. So maybe he wants to go second on some times here on this list and plays the Lost World as well. It can also be a very good card to protect your Dino on this list. And then next we have Resonator or RDA. So quite standard decks of Resonator. He plays the Bestial for extenders and Earthbound as well. This is the turning point of RDA recently. They play the Earthbound package on the deck, but the problem is it's very expensive right now. So many players are not considering this deck, given the fact that this deck is not that too much of a threat or that powerful, and it costs very costly on monetary value. And next we have Monarch. So it's been the third time that I have seen Monarch here on this metagame report. So yeah, Monarch can still top, no? It's a very old deck and players are still not giving up on Monarch. Maybe Monarch has that charm of playing it on a long run or years. So yeah, Monarch can still top. Very interesting. And then moving on, Headquarters Hobby Card Games Tournament. At first place here we have Rescue Ace. So I haven't seen Rescue Ace players play Sinful Spoils. Maybe the engine was just that expensive to buy right now. But yeah, Dimension Shifter on the side deck really strong right now against Tearlaments and Earth Stop. Even purely, this is a very notable card on the side deck. And then next we have Manadium. This is the most toxic part of Manadium that I have been saying earlier. The Calamity Turbo on the extra deck of Manadium. This is also with oh, it doesn't play the Plug Spreader. I would play Plug Spreader here on the Manadium, but instead it plays the Samsara on the main deck. Really interesting. And plays 2 talents. I guess it's quite a good call here to play talents because the format is very hand trap oriented. You have Ghost Bell, you have Veiler, you have DD Crow to worry on the format. That's why talents can give you assurance when you run into that. And then we have Aditya Matmek. Aditya has been such a very good player. I have seen his list over the time here on my coverage of local metagame report, and he's been tapping for quite some time using his Matmek. Even though the circular got into 1, he still plays this deck. So it's very notable props to him for piloting this deck. And then we have Tough Dealer, Rescue Ace. Now we are now talking. It's this Rescue Ace plays the Sinful Spoils. So yeah, it really elevates the consistency of the deck, and even plays the Monitor on the main deck. I'm not too sure about this, but on my Rescue Ace decklist right now, I have ditched the Impulse and Fire Attacker. Sometimes Impulse and Fire Attacker feels very underwhelming on some matchups, especially if it's not purely Impulse and Fire Attacker don't have that much of a value for me. So moving on, we have Paducah Weekly Tournament. We now have Rescue Ace, so we can see and we can tell that Rescue Ace is the most played deck right now in the format and the most tops on the format. So it proves how powerful Rescue Ace is right now. On the side deck, he plays Dimensional Fissure. Really nice as well on dealing against purely and Tearlaments. And Macrocosmos as well. A good going first card on his side deck. And plays the rank 8 package of Dergluvion and Numeron Dragon. So he wants to OTK his opponent here using his level 8 into rank 8 play. And then next we have Sword Soul again. Sword Soul Tenyi. Plays the Vessels on the main deck. I'm not too sure about this. I would play Circles, Heavenly Circles over these Vessels on this list. And Lava Golem as well, very nice. You don't commit that much on your normal summon, especially when you have the Virtuous Ecclesia and your Tenyi monsters. You can just Lava Golem your opponent and play your Tenyi cards. And then next we have another Kashtira. Wow. So Kashtira is still that good. Even though Fenrir got banned, players are still coping with Kashtira. I would like to see Kashtira with Sinful Spoils because Sinful Spoils are also level 7. So you can mix and match those archetypes and build from it. And then next we have Batam Community Duelist, Yu-Gi-Oh! Day Event, Gacha Store CS. So this time I place Ice Jade with Egyptian God. Really interesting. It's the first time that I have seen this deck, And to be honest, I don't know how this works. And then moving on, we have Invoke Dogmatica with Sinful Spoils. So it gives you leeway for additional negation on this list on top of Mekaba and something like Winda on this list. So you have a protection to protect your board. So yeah, it's a really nice list here. And then moving on, we have Ninja. So Ninja has been quite under the radar for quite some time, but I assure you, I have seen a lot of good Ninja players top with this deck on big tournaments. So Ninja is a very capable deck, a very good rogue deck, if I must say. And then next we have Pixels and Deck Cebu. First place, our friend from Kaidubilis, the Edison Gorameng, with his Heroes. So it's the second time that I have seen Heroes on our report right now. So yeah, it proves to be how good is Dark Law on the format. And also plays Dark Angel on the main deck. Maybe he wants to stun his opponent. And also plays Forbidden Droplet. I also like this inclusion because you get so much value from discarding your hero cards like Denier and Malicious. So yeah, moving on, we have Yu-Gi-Oh! Community Zambales, Tabletop Gapo ranking tournament. July 26, we have Kerwin Lee again. So Kerwin Lee has been topping quite numerous occasions on Tabletop Gapo. This time with Trap Tricks. Standard decklist of Trap Tricks, I placed the Vernus Sylph and Glow Up Bulb on the main deck. So he has access to Naturia Beast. Naturia Beast is very strong against Purely because they are based around spell cards. So Naturia Beast is easy win out against Purely. And the next we have Joshua Oriano, Vanquish Soul. This time he doesn't play the what do you call this? There can be only one. Instead he plays the Sinful Spoils on the main deck. A very nice list from Joshua Oriano. He plays the There Can Be Only One on the side deck. I see. So no Feather Duster as well on the side deck. And then we have Jules Soriano, Tearlaments. This time without the Sinful Spoils. Standard decks of Tearlaments. I'm really tired of seeing Tearlaments. I hope for a day to come the Tearlaments will get nerfed to the gutted ban list. So yeah, it's pretty tiring to see Tearlaments for over 2 years now. And then next, we have Oda, Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1 Final Clash Tournament. At first here, we have Champion, Richard Gigachad, really nice name. Plays as Scareclaw, Kashtira with Revo Synchron. So he has access to Synchro monsters on the extra deck. And also Tryhard is a very good card on Scareclaw as well. Really nice list from Richard, the Gigachad. And the next we have Heroes again from Kirigaya. So Heroes, no? It's been the third time or fourth time that we have seen Heroes here. So yeah, I think Heroes is quite underrated right now in the format. Many players doesn't regard Heroes to be a good deck right now. Especially there's a lot of good options to pick up on the format. But yeah, Heroes proves to be a very decent choice right now as far as I am seeing here on the reports. And the next we have Ivan Joff, Rescue Ace, without the Sinful Spoils. So yeah, interesting. He plays Solemn Judgment on the side deck. Solemn Judgment can really help you to protect your board from board wipes like Evenly Match and Duster and Lightning Storm. Really nice from Ivan. And the next we have Angelo James, Vanquish Soul. So he plays Bestial Magnamut on the main deck. Maybe it can search Dragon, of course. And plays Small World as well. Really nice. And then we have Carl Steven, Live Twin. So it's really interesting. It is hand traps with Live Twin, to be honest. There's a lot of hand traps on this list. How many hand traps is this? 3, 6, 9, 12, and 16 hand traps, 17 hand traps, and then Forbidden Droplet as well. There's a lot of hand traps on this list. Really nice from Carl Steven. And the next we have Castel, Tearlaments, Kashtira, Naturia, Retrievo. So it's been the second time that I have seen Castel top on Oda, Order of the Duelist in Alibi. So he's doing such a good job on playing the Naturia package towards the Tearlaments decklist right now. And then next we have Carl Nongni, Plunder Chimera. Plunder Patrol with Chimera, really interesting. Two of the very good rogue decks mixed into the Oblivion here of Plunder Chimera. Maybe he has access of Plunder when going first, and he has Chimera cards to go second. And then next we have, oh, it got back. Next we have, so the image won't load from this player. Maybe the rather the Facebook was broken. And the next we have Bandung Duelist. First place here we have Fluandris with Trust on the main deck. It really makes sense because you can just search the Harpy's Feather Storm and win the game from there. So it's really nice from Ryan. The extra deck was not even Fluandris, it's Live Twin extra deck. And the next we have Putra Labyrinth with Unchained as well. So really nice. Place the Unchained on the extra deck with one of these red dog. I forgot the name of this card. And the next we have Vanquishol again from Owen. So there's a lot of Vanquishol stops on this report. So maybe Vanquishol are proving to be one of the better meta decks right now in the format. And then we have another hero here. It's the 5th time or 4th time, I guess, of seeing hero. But yeah, I think hero proves to be a very good deck right now in the format. Especially the format is not yet solved. There's a lot of innovations and changes on the format right now. So hero can definitely slot in some victories on this ever changing format right now. And the next we have Second Boy Sando Tournament, Yu-Gi-Oh! LU with Milo Leo, Adamantipator, Super Heavy Samurai. Quite standard decklist of Super Heavy Samurai Adamantipator. Place the Kaijus on the side deck. I'm surprised that he doesn't play the Slumber. Maybe he just wants access for Kaiju monsters here. So Kurikara as well, so has a lot of tributing factors when going second. I cannot see his decklist clearly from this edit. And the next we have Second Boy Sando Tournament, Yu-Gi-Oh! LU as well. We have second place from Gian Laranang, Matmek. So I don't know the name of this spirit card after the Aratama and before Sakitama. I don't know how this spirit monster works on this list, but maybe it's an extender rather on this list. And plays triple Signet Mining and triple Small World really makes a lot of sense because you have lost some consistency on this list from the R1 circular, so you want to search your cards. And then next we have DB Yu-Gi-Oh! Local Tournament. We have Radney Tikar, Tier Laments. So this list doesn't play the what they call the Sinful Spoils as well. So maybe it was before. Yeah, 729. He doesn't play Sinful Spoils currently. But yeah, I think Sinful Spoils is the better option right now on Tier Laments over the Adventurer. So yeah, that sums up our video for today. Thank you for watching this video. If you have time, you can visit our page of Uncrowned Kings Local Metagame Report on Facebook and leave a like on this page and follow as well. So thank you for watching. Hit the subscription button if you're not yet subscribed on my YouTube channel, and hit the like button if you like this kind of content. So see you on the next one. Peace.